Welcome to another edition of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of entrepreneurs and amazing people, such as Dr. Gary Witt. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Francisco. Wonderful program you have. I recommend it to all my clients.
You know, you were just saying that because you know me.
I do.
You said that to all the boys. Hey, man, you're amazing, man.
I appreciate that. You too. You have created such a unique place here.
Thank you so much.
Everyone should come down and at least look at it.
What people, you see, a lot of people know the fact that you are a marketing, but a lot of people maybe do not know that prior to this marketing life, you were in radio and TV.
And a lot of other things. I seem to have had 7 or 8 different lives. I began in radio, went to television, was a news director and an anchorman, went into producing television series for PBS. Actually, one of them, which was created back in the mid-'80s, is still being used in schools today to teach kids history, okay? Called Newscast from the Past. And I did that. I've done public relations. I've done marketing for nonprofits, and I've even done some lobbying.
You're just everything, man. That's why, you know, when you walked in, I'm like, okay, here's the Oracle. Here's the Oracle.
Oh, I also drove cab when I was in college, too. You learn a lot driving cab.
I would imagine. The story's got to be unbelievable, right?
That's right. Some of which you could actually share on television.
So, but now your life finds you being in marketing and in the psychology of marketing. Explain to us what all that's all about.
Well, this comes out of my my background. My doctorate from the University of Texas is in both psychology and communication. And then I spent about 15, 20 years doing marketing in various ways. Then I moved into the university setting where I taught marketing, psychology, and communication. At one time, I was teaching at 8 different universities. And then I began to desire to get back into the real business world where you're helping small businesses to try to improve. Because as you well know, you know, you've got almost a 40% failure rate in small businesses within the first 5 years.
Even higher than that.
Yeah, and part of that is cash flow, but part of it, a big part of it, is they just don't understand marketing.
So what is the biggest thing that we need to understand about marketing?
Well, the biggest thing, and it is the first principle of marketing psychology, is that people do not want what you are selling. Okay.
Expand.
If you can get your arms around that, you are better off than at least half of the businesses that are out there.
People do not want what
you are selling. Right.
Right.
What people want to buy are satisfactions. Okay? And in fact, let me tell you a very quick story.
Sure.
Okay. Guy goes into a Corvette dealership, wants to buy a Corvette. Okay. First salesman comes out, says, "Sir, it's a beautiful car."
My mom's driving one.
And she probably won't let you drive it. She's smart. And it's a beautiful red Corvette convertible. And the first salesman starts talking about the car. Yeah? How fast it can go, the speakers, the paint job, everything. Okay. Guy says, "Wonderful car, I'll come back." Goes into a second dealership, exactly the same car, exactly the same price. Okay. Second salesman comes out, opens the door, says, "Sir, sit right down in these English leather bucket seats." Man sits down, this fellow shuts the door, says, "Now just imagine, you're zooming along the highway at 90 miles an hour, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, the Bose sound system with 16 speakers is blasting out your favorite tunes. You feel free as a bird, you screech up to a stop sign, there's 3 beautiful women there, and the women say, 'Wow, what a car!' And the guy says, 'Where do I sign?'" Because the second salesman realized what the first salesman didn't. The man did not want to buy a Corvette. What the man wanted to buy, the satisfactions, was to go fast and look cool. The second salesman promised to sell him what he wanted. First salesman just tried to sell him a car. Okay? If you can identify what your customers truly want to buy, the satisfactions they want to buy, and then promise to sell it to them, they will buy more from you than anybody else. Okay? Now, imagine this, and you can go back to the Corvette example.
Yeah.
The difference between A and B, between company A and company B, all the way up, okay, was exactly the same. Corvette's the same, price is the same, everything like that. The difference between the two is this much. And this is what we call the magic inch. And that magic inch is what makes the difference between the company that gets all of the money and the company that gets none of the money. It's that much. There's always a first choice and a second choice. Where marketing psychology plays is in this little area right here, helping companies that are frankly tired of being second too often. They want to be first. And we give them that little boost. And we do this by creating a marketing, a buyer behavior analysis. And this behavior analysis works both with logic and emotion, because those are the two primary drivers. Okay? And with that information, with that foundation, you can create marketing messages that will give you that little edge.
Is this marketing philosophy, this is spectacular, but is this income blind? So in other words, can you apply this marketing psychology perhaps for a maybe middle income or lower income population as well? I can see where, you know, the guy driving the Mercedes or the Corvette or whatever, I can see where the, you know, he would want that satisfaction or that lifestyle and so forth. But somebody that is in the lower income, is that individual also looking for satisfaction, or is it looking for probably just a necessity?
Everybody looks for satisfaction. Okay? Now that satisfaction may be in terms of, I pay the lowest price. Okay? But now let me ask you this, because a lot of businesses will begin by saying, well, in order to compete, what I need to do is cut my price. Okay? But if you cut your price, you are also cutting the perceived value and the perceived quality of that thing, whatever it is that you're selling. Okay? If I were to offer to sell you, let's say you're buying a shirt, okay? I offer to sell you a shirt, $5, okay? But when I show you the shirt, it's thin, it's not very well made. You look at it and you say, you know what? A couple of washings, this is going to fall apart. Then I say, Francisco, I have another shirt here. It's $8, okay? But you look at it and it's a lot better made. Which one are you going to buy?
$8.
You're going to spend the extra $3, even though it's more expensive, simply because you believe that it is going to last longer. Okay? And so when we talk about satisfactions, it applies to low income, high income, anybody in between. We just did it. I'll give you an example. We just did about a 3-month research job, marketing research job for Western Dental, biggest chain of dental chains in California. Okay? These people spend $1 million a month on television. And you know who their target market is? Low-income Hispanics. That is who they want to attract. What we found out when we did this research was that the target market, even though they were looking for the lowest cost, were also, just like the shirt example, were willing to pay a little more if they got what they wanted. And let me give you another example with Western Dental, because it's a really good example of how marketing psychology works, and also why our company is different than most all other companies out there that primarily look at, okay, how can we convince you to do this? We look at inside the mind, and that's where we focus. Okay. We ask a question. It was a double-blind question. In other words, a question where you had to choose between two different negatives. And here was the question. I'll ask you. You tell me which one you'd pick.
All right.
Okay? If you had to choose between a great dentist who had no personality and a good dentist who had a great personality, very friendly personality, which one would you choose?
Probably the good personality.
You'd choose the good personality. Yeah. Okay. 85% of Anglos chose the great dentist with no personality. Right? This is our research for Western Dental. Okay. 100% of Anglos chose the great dentist with no personality. They didn't care. They wanted good teeth where personality didn't make any difference to them. 68% of Hispanics, and remember, we're talking about low-income Hispanics, okay, chose the good dentist with a great personality. In other words, they were willing to trade down the quality of the dental care they got in order to get a guy who had a good personality.
Is that a cultural thing then?
No, this fooled us. We couldn't figure out. It took a couple of days. Finally, I figured it out. Because ultimately, it always goes back to satisfactions. It always goes back to perceived value.
And if you want to know the answer, then we're going to have it. No, I'm just kidding. Just give us the answer.
Okay.
This is like a freaking telenovela right now. Which is like the next episode.
So think about this, and the key to marketing psychology, the reason this works also is because we are able to put ourselves into the minds of the target market.
Right.
Okay? So you've got to look at the situation through the eyes of a low-income Hispanic. Now think about this. They're low income, they have a blue-collar job, they don't speak English very well, they may or may not be illegal, and they are in pain. We talked to one guy who had not been to the dentist for 17 years. I said, why? He said, till now it didn't hurt. So preventive dentistry is not really something that is high on all the categories, simply because of money.
And so this 68% response, what did you attribute it to?
Well, here's how it works. So you think of this person, okay? He's going into a dental office, which first of all, we all know is scary, okay? Especially if you haven't been there for a long time, okay? And you've got pain. Now, what do you want when you walk in that dentist office? The number one satisfaction you want is what? No pain. You want to walk out of there with no pain. Okay. I go into a situation where I am faced with a dentist who is a doctor. He's wearing a white coat. Chances are he's Anglo. Okay. He has a lot of education. The difference in perceived cultural status is like this. It's enormous.
Wow.
Okay? And I have seen this with my students over and over and over again. There are some students that are just worried about even raising their hand to ask a question because I am their Professor Doctor,
sure,
Gary Witt, and they're a student. Okay? Now, this is kind of the same thing. So what we finally figured out was they're willing to trade down to the good dentist for one reason, because they feel they will be able to ask that dentist questions, be able to tell them where the problems are. If there's something wrong, they won't feel reluctant to talk to him because he's friendly. Okay? So now we understand what a key buying motivation is for that particular group of low-income Hispanics, which is an enormous group, right?
Right.
Okay. So now in marketing psychology, that's the first step. Understanding what are the factors that are going to truly guide the decision that those people are going to finally make.
You know what happens in this interview is that I get so into everything that you're talking about that we only, I'm reminded when they're throwing me the shirts and they're giving me the signs and everything else that we only have maybe 10 to 15 minutes for this interview. And so we could probably do this like maybe in a series of 10 times because it fascinates me. You make my life, my interview very easy because I don't have to ask questions, dude. I mean, you just go.
I'm glad. But I need to finish this story
Tell
because
me!
this is the payoff, okay? It doesn't help a business to know this about their customers unless they can then translate it into true marketing, okay? And in the case of Western Dental, the true marketing payoff was in their television commercials. So we looked at their television commercials, and what did we see? We saw a Hispanic man sitting in a chair. The dentist in the white coat, Anglo, stood over him, looking down and talking to him. We said, no, wait a minute. You got to change this up. First of all, you put Mama in the chair because Mama is the one who's going to make the decision for the family on who you're going to go to.
Yep.
Number two, when the dentist comes in, he pulls up a stool. He sits down. Now they're eye level to eye level, okay? He takes notes, she talks. Now you're sending a signal out to this mass of target market that you want. This is the place you want. They will listen to you, they smile at you, they treat you with respect.
I hope you charge them like $1 million for this advice.
Well, please write me out a check.
Gary, this is amazing what you do. And this is all just by analyzing the psychology and just taking into account this first step, which is the most important step in marketing. Just finding out what they want.
What they want, and then how to translate that into good marketing messages.
I don't know whether you want this or not, but I am going to give it to you.
I would love to have it.
It's a nice T-shirt. And we'll find out your size here shortly, but this is really the kind of the compendium of what entrepreneurs are all about, the virtues that they have. Simplicity, discipline, humility, kindness, and honesty. And you have that and then some, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate
Gary,
this. I am honored to have this.
I tell you what, man. It's just, for me, it's a privilege that you have shared a little bit of this information with us, and I definitely want you back because like this, I'm sure you have, I don't know, maybe like 1 million stories.
Maybe not quite that many, but it is a pleasure always to see you and to see what a wonderful place that you are creating, basically just out of the creativity in your mind.
It just comes out somewhere, man. I love you, Gary. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my friend.
And with that, we're out.